All right. Well, I'm thrilled to introduce Mr. Terance Garcia. He is the driving force behind Kingdom Housing, and he's a sharp, passionate entrepreneur who's dedicated to helping people grow and scale their group home business. I'm excited for him to dive into his journey and to share a little wisdom with us. So please take it away, Mr. Terance. Go ahead.
Appreciate you having me on, man. Yeah, I'm excited to chat. We haven't talked in quite a few years actually, but
I know,
yeah,
it's been a while.
I love everything that you've been doing and how you're educating people on the real estate side of things of social media as well.
Thanks, man. Likewise, I appreciate that, and you as well. As far as your how you got started, what kind of inspired you to kind of get started down this path and help people?
Definitely. I guess I'll make the story short. I was recently graduated from University of South Florida with my master's degree. So I was
Nice,
training
nice.
people at the time, and I would train people at a park in Tampa. It's called Riverwalk Park. It's downtown. And we would have early morning sessions, and there would be a ton of people, homeless people specifically, that were being released from shelters early in the morning. Because a lot of times, if you stay at a shelter, you can't stay there throughout the day, or even
Mm,
some, that's where they had slept that night. So started having conversations with them, building relationships and just getting a better understanding of it. Like, kind of why are you guys here? How'd you get in
mm.
this situation? What's going on?
Yeah,
Um, and at that same time, I had also re-given my life to Christ, and I was kind of looking for my purpose,
awesome.
what was going to be next for me. And I was praying, and one day in church, I kind of had the idea of a way to merge kind of my passion for wealth and getting into real estate, but also helping people at the same time with the people that I saw that were struggling to find housing. And that's where the group home model came about. We opened our first home in April of 2021, and now we have 7 homes in the Tampa area, and we're helping currently 46 people are residing with us, but we've helped, since our time being open, we've helped over 100 people get off the streets.
That's awesome. As far as the model, was it your idea or was it something that you have always wanted to combine real estate as far as with helping people? Or how did you come up with, I wanted to do, how did you decide to, you wanted to do group homes in your way of helping or giving back?
Yeah, it was a merging of real estate and just the need that I saw in the giving back area, which
Mm,
was housing. I didn't come up with a group home model, but I was searching for how can I help people with housing,
mhm.
and the group home model came about. I had a colleague at the time who told me about another organization that was teaching people on how to get started as well, and kind of dove into that. And I don't know, have you ever had that feeling where you hear something and it just clicks for you? You're like, man, this is it.
Yeah, I
Like, I
get
love this. I'm gonna
you.
do it, and I just
Mhm.
haven't looked back.
That's awesome. That's really awesome, man. As far as your, what are some of the challenges that you faced as far as from getting from point A to where you are now?
Yeah. Definitely is gonna be knowledge, right? So
Mhm,
just understanding how you can help the demographic I serve is people transitioning out of homelessness, right? So,
mhm,
a lot of misconceptions is that you need to go out and get a specific license from the state, or you need to work with like the government or something like that in order to open up a home to a group home, which isn't the case, right? So, when I first wanted to get started, that's what I thought I had to do. I thought I had to open a nonprofit, go and get a license, et cetera, which is, those processes could take up to years, right?
yeah.
Um, and you don't need to do any of that. So knowledge is huge. And then also just, I would say as far as learnings is the people that you see, whether it's, panhandling or in need of housing, not all of them are on drugs, or not all of them are alcoholics, or not all of them are bad people, quote to say,
Mhm,
right? I truly believe that everyone deserves a second chance. Maybe they didn't make the best choices earlier on in their life,
mhm.
but there's a lot of good people that are just in need of someone to give them a helping hand and a reset.
I love that. I love that. I agree. I feel like a lot of people, you get this, this theme as far as when people see people not doing well or in unfortunate circumstances, you think, oh, it's their fault or they've done something. At the end of the day, sometimes life has a way of just not working out in your favor. And that's great that you decided to take upon yourself to kind of help these people and give them a second chance. Because a lot of people, also some people need is a second chance sometimes. So I love that. As far as the additional skills, you touched on that. What other additional skills did you need? Because I know you come from an education background. What additional skills did you need to apply in order to get further along in managing and scaling your group home business?
Yeah, negotiating with homeowners. So I did not have a lot of, and that's probably your area of I did not
Negotiation
have a
skills.
lot of capital when I first got
Hmm.
started. So I couldn't go out and purchase my own home to house these people, right? So what I did was I found a property owner that would be willing to rent out their property to me so that I can then go out and help the homeless population. And I've done that with multiple property owners now. For them, it's almost like a property management, if you would say, right? So they don't have
Hmm.
to worry about minor maintenance issues. They don't have to worry about making sure the property is full. And at the end of the day, they get to know that their property is being used for a good cause, like a higher purpose. So I've got really good at finding landlords, negotiating with them, pitching the idea. And I get a lot of landlords now that want to work with me in what we're doing.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. And I'm sure that this comes from one, you gaining the experience and the knowledge from it as you continue to do it, but also I'm sure it gets a little bit easier because you're building up your resources and your network as far as so if something happens, if you need something or if something going on, exactly who to call and what to do in that situation. So that's fantastic.
Exactly.
You touched on misconceptions. I want to take a step back. You touched on misconceptions that people have. I feel like you're absolutely right on. When I think of me going scaling or owning a group home, I think I got to do this or I got to do
Mhm.
that. Or there's so many different things. What are some other things that you think people should know as they dive into this business? Like you don't have to do 100 things to get to where I'm at. You just have to do one, two, and three, and then go from there.
Yeah. And I laid this out. I built out a community that's helping people open up group homes. We've already
Hmm.
helped 15 individuals so far over
Oh,
the past
nice,
year.
nice.
And on this year in 2025, we're planning on helping 125 people, but there's
Oh,
really
wow.
only 13 steps that you need to do to open an unlicensed group home. And for the biggest one that people skip or like the misconception is they think property first, right? They're like, all right, property acquisition. Am I gonna rent? Am I gonna go buy something? How am I gonna get a property? How am I gonna pay for it? To where
Hmm.
all of my coaching clients, I coach them to start with the relationships with the nonprofit
Mm,
organizations, right? So starting with the marketing, because you don't want to go out and get a property where you don't know how you're gonna get it filled or who's
hmm.
gonna move in, right?
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time on website creation, doing outreach to nonprofit organizations that already have people in need of housing, calling them constantly throughout the day. We get those relationships built out. Once we have enough, then we go and secure a property because we know we won't have an issue getting it filled.
That's you. That's great information because you think in a group home, I got to go buy myself a home.
Right.
So that yeah, that's good information to have, I suppose, if you're just starting out. And in your day to day, so are you managing and making sure that all the homes stay up to quality and doing that? So when there's an issue, do they call you, or is there a certain layer of so they call somebody else and then they call you?
Fantastic question. So all of our homes have security cameras. So we have like security cameras in the common areas, and we also have them like outside the property as well.
Hmm.
Um, and we also have live-in house supervisors at each location. So they stay at the home, but they are the designated person that people go to if there are minor issues or maybe something's broken or
Hmm.
anything like that. But yeah, I'm the main one currently managing. So if there's something that comes up that the house supervisor can't solve, they'll reach out to me. And then I have different contacts, whether it's a maintenance issue or if we need to get a nonprofit organization involved, that I'll kind of delegate those responsibilities over to.
Nice, that's awesome. And kind of when you're first starting out, is this something that you go through the ranks, like you start at where you're at, or is it over time you essentially learn these different things and then you're placed in a position to where now you're managing your own?
Great question. No, I started where I am because
Hmm.
it was a brand new business that I opened up. Um, so it would be starting in you probably when you first get started, you're not going to have the different connections or all the
Okay.
resources, right?
Okay.
So you may have to do a lot more on your own. You may not have a house supervisor that you trust yet, so you may have to spend more time
Mm.
visiting the home, connecting with other individuals. But as you scale, the goal is to within any good business, right? Put systems in place. That way you can spend more time working on the business instead of in it.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. And then when you're looking for these people to manage the in-home, are there a certain type of person that you're looking for? Because I'm sure you just don't want to, you know, not hire anybody, but is there a certain type of qualities and traits that you look for in a person that's like, "Okay, I want this person to manage this home."
Definitely. Yeah, and I said it earlier, but with this question, it makes me think that how important it is. The
Hmm.
group home business is extremely about relationships. So we
Hmm.
touched on how important the relationships were with nonprofit organizations, right? But the people relationships are also important. So when I am getting a house supervisor in place, I make sure that they have a just like an opening personality, a warm personality for the
Hmm.
individuals, because people are coming from different steps in their life when they come into our home. So we want to make sure that we're providing that calm, safe, you know, kind of like a peace when they come in. And so someone who's very personable is a very important skill that I look for in a house supervisor.
Got you. That makes sense. You want to feel that warm connection, and I would assume that you don't want anybody that's standoffish or not wanting to talk to. So that makes a lot of sense. As far as Kingdom Housing, t tell us a little bit about that. And do you teach all of these skills that you've learned that you developed in this program?
Absolutely. I do not do
Mm.
what a lot of people say is what they call gatekeeping. I'm not a gatekeeper. All the everything I know, I love sharing with people. And my
Mm.
number one reason for doing it, honestly, man, is I want to help as many people find housing as possible. Me personally, I can only house so many people, right? We're at 7 locations, 46 individuals,
Mm.
and I tried to grow that to 1,000 people or 1,000 people we're helping and housing. I can do it, but it's going to take some time, right? Versus if I teach someone like you to go out and open 7 locations and someone else in Houston to open up 7 locations, right? Now we're having a bigger impact across
Yes,
the
yes.
nation, and everyone's kind of taking bite-sized pieces off of it, so it's manageable for everyone.
Yes, no, I get you completely. That makes a lot of sense. It's easier for you to diverse and build and grow like that. So that makes a lot of sense. I know you touched on networking and relationships. Has there been one person or maybe a group or maybe multiple people that have helped you really build your business and help you scale as far as start from point A to get to point B? Like, was there one connection that you made over the course of the years that's like, okay, like this person helped me get here?
Yeah, it would be I won't say her name, but it's a lady from an organization that I started working with when we first opened our home, and we still, work with them today at a
No, good.
organization called Grace Point Wellness. They came out and did a tour at my very first home that I opened up. I was
Hmm.
still nervous. I didn't even know what we were going to talk about, what they were going to ask. I was kind of just like, here it is. But she was just just warm, right? She was excited about what I wanted to do. She could tell my heart was in the right place of why I wanted to do it. And to this just connect me with different organizations or send referrals my way. She's been an amazing help, so I'm grateful that God put her in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like we go through these times in our lives and through the years, and sometimes we look back and it's like, man, if I had not made that one connection or went to that one event and met that one person, things would be totally different. And
Mm.
it's good that you have that one person for you. As far as Kingdom Housing, what are some new things that you guys are looking forward to in this upcoming year?
Definitely. So as far as my housing locations go, we are expanding to Michigan. So right now, all of our homes are in Tampa, Florida. Next
Hmm.
year, we're going to open 4 locations in the Michigan area. So very excited about
Nice,
that. I'm partnering with
nice,
one
nice,
of my
nice.
good friends to grow the business. And then on the coaching side, like I said, our goal is to help 125 people open up homes, and we should be responsible for housing um, 1,000 people, helping 1,000
Oh
people
wow,
in
wow,
total.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah, that's the goal. And I kind of lowballed it because if all 125 people open one location, then we can hit that number. But most people go on to open, two, three, 4 locations, even in the first year. So
Wow.
I'm very excited about the new year.
That's awesome. And I would imagine once you get your first one down, I would imagine each one gets a little bit easier because you kind of know the guide and the steps to kind of get from the first one to the second to the third. So
Absolutely.
that'll.
Yeah, and your relationships stack on top of each other, right? So
Mhm.
that organization that referred someone to you or help you build your first home can keep that relationship and they can help you fill your
Mm,
second home as well.
that makes sense. Is there any benefit? I think they would. Is there any benefit to actually owning the property as opposed to just putting people in the property?
Is there any benefit to owning the property versus like renting? I would say it's the profit margins of the overall business.
Mm-hmm.
So the group home business that I help people coach is a for-profit business, right? So then a lot of times the nonprofit organizations provide case management. They help with doctor's appointment if any individual needs
Wow.
like medication management.
Mm-hmm.
They handle all of that, and then they'll pay me to house their clients, right? So
Okay.
we're collecting funds as well. With profit margins, though, you know this better than I do, but when you're renting a property, typically rents are higher than what a mortgage would be.
Mm-hmm.
If you rent, then let's say, the rent is $2,000 a month, right? Versus if you own the property, maybe it would be like around 1,500, 1,700, like your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have that $300 to $500 in
Mm,
profitability that would go back into the business if you own the property, in addition to the equity over time and paying down the,
yeah,
the overall note.
got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. If there was if there was one piece of advice that you could give your past self or just somebody looking to follow a similar path, what would be that one piece of advice?
It's a good question. I don't want to, yeah, it's a good question. Honestly, I think the biggest thing that I've learned and I'm still learning is that success loves speed, in any industry, right? Success loves speed. In addition to that, it's done is better than perfect because perfect is never done. So I
I like
myself am
that.
a
I like that.
overthinker, and
Hmm.
sometimes I want everything to be perfect before we roll it out. But having something done in place and getting some mistakes made if necessary, will get you further ahead than waiting and trying to put the perfect thing out there the first time around. Um, and last note that I'll share to myself is don't be afraid to make the investment in like coaching or a program or anything like that. Because again, success loves speed. So if you can take the learnings from someone who's been doing it for 3, 5, 7, 10 years and shrink it down into a conversation so you don't have to make those same mistakes, it will expedite your growth.
100%. Yeah. I mean, one of the best investments, if not the best one, is to invest in yourself. And I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of us will have an idea and it can be a great idea, but if we're not doing anything, if we're not putting it into action, then it'll always just be an idea. And, you know, there's this saying that he says, don't let great get in the way of good. So at
Mm,
the end of the day, if you have something out there, sometimes just put it out there, do it, and let everything else fall in line. And that's kind of, things have a tendency to work out if you just put them into action. So I like that. That was great.
absolutely.
Where can people find you?
Man, I am back on social media after being
Okay.
dormant for some time. So Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, or no, Instagram and TikTok, sorry. I am Terance Garcia. Terrence is with one R and
1 hour.
not two. I am Terance Garcia. And then I don't have any content on there yet, but also be on YouTube at I am Terance Garcia. And we're going to be rolling out some nice videos for you all in 2025.
Exciting times, exciting time. Please follow my man here. He's doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to seeing your success, brother. I appreciate you taking this time for me.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure catching up with you, and I love everything you're doing again, man. I'm looking forward to, hey, coming to invest in California and working with
Yeah.
you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Later.